Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie,
And I'm Fuchsia.
and we are
That thing,
called Inclusion.
inclusion. We're still
Woo!
rubbish at that, by the way.
I actually, I actually think we're getting better. I generally think we were getting better at it. Again, if you want to sing us a theme song and know how to create one, let us know. Or maybe Chad, who is our guest speaker today, can let us know maybe where to look. So before we actually dive in and start speaking to Chad, I just want to remind everybody of our social medias. Our handle is at that inclusion. Our website is thatthingcalledInclusion.com. And if you want to reach out to us, it's info at thatthingcalledInclusion. And remember to review, like, subscribe, and so on, etc., etc., etc. But on to the show today. We're excited. So, we are joined today from across the water from Chad. Hi,
Hello,
Chad.
hello. How are you guys?
It is a lovely day in the UK. What about where you are?
I bet. I'm out of Florida, so it's
Ooh.
also a very beautiful day today too.
Oh
Isn't
gosh.
Florida where Disneyland is?
Yeah, it is. All I
Yep.
remember is it says alligators and it can be muggy.
Yeah.
That's what I know about Florida.
So yes, there are alligators, and it is very
I would
muggy.
love to go. I think I know the Disneyland part of it. My partner's been a few times, and I want to go to the Star Wars hotel that they've just opened there because
Yes.
it looks insane. Sounds insane.
Yeah, they wanted to open it right as COVID was happening, so they've been really wanting to open that for a while now. So yeah, that's the big new
And I
thing
don't know,
there.
is it accessible? Like I've never been there. Like is Disneyland accessible for people?
I mean, they have their own fast pass for people with disabilities. So they are
Oh.
generally pretty good with people that have a disability. I mean, it's a little bit more complicated now because they have like this genie app for things for rides and stuff. So it's a little more confusing than it used to be. But they're pretty good when it comes to helping people with disabilities. I've never had any problems.
Road trip.
We're, we're
Brilliant.
famous.
Well, look, what we want to do, Chad, is we want to let our listeners know who you are first. So, Chad, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and your, let's say, superpower? What's your superpower?
Um, Heck, my superpower is perseverance. um, if you hear any groaning in the background, it's my guide dog Andros. But yeah, my name
Hi,
is
Andres.
my name is Chad Bouton, and I'll be 29 this year. And I've been losing my vision from retinitis pigmentosa since I was about 11 years old. And for what I do, honestly, it's crazy. I used to be a fundraiser for an organization out of Florida called Southeastern Guide Dogs, and it trains guide dogs for the blind as well as service dogs for veterans. And I worked there from
Oh.
2019 to 2021, and I helped raise money for the organization. I did a lot of public speaking. I was actually professionally trained. By a company called Strategic Samurai to become a better speaker. But yeah, I held events, I coordinated vendors and fundraisers. I actually ended up being able to raise in a single fiscal year $40,000 for the organization.
Oh.
And it would have been great to have kept working there, but of course, Corona happened, so public
Yeah.
events kind of went away. So I lost my job to the coronavirus, and I worked for a while as a janitor at a reemployment office. And weirdly enough, they didn't help me find a job. um, I kind of just created my own job, and I guess it's kind of a good thing they didn't help me find a job because I wouldn't be talking to you guys today.
That's it. I'm a firm believer in life. Everything happens for a reason. I know
Yeah,
there'll be bad times, there'll be good times, but there might be something around that corner you weren't expecting.
yeah, I completely agree with you.
And like your condition, then, so tell us a little bit about your condition then, and what that entails, and is it hereditary? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so retinitis pigmentosa is a genetic eye disease that affects of course, the retina. Basically, what happens is that it's kind of like a macular degeneration. For those that are familiar with that,
Oh.
It's considered basically an encroaching disease because it starts from your peripheral vision and then slowly works its way into your central vision. So basically, a lot of the common side effects that you will start seeing from a very early stage is tunnel vision. So it's kind of like a camera lens closing slowly on itself. The way I describe my vision to people is if you were to take a straw and then close one eye and then look into the straw with your other eye, that's what I can see and nothing more. So it's just what is directly in front of me. And of course, as it is genetic, it's of course hereditary. Both my parents
Mm.
are recessive carriers, so it's just unfortunate that they had no idea that they had this disease. And then 50 plus 50 equals 100, and then both my sister and I unfortunately have retinitis pigmentosa.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Isn't science awesome?
It really is. We always get the it mixed in, don't we? Mine's genetic as well, so it is. Like my uncles have it in my family. But it's my mum didn't know she carried the gene, 'cause my mum carries the gene as well. But with your condition, at least, you had somebody there to kind of then who understood what you were going through, who in the same household,
Mhm.
and like I'm going to assume that you and your sister would be quite close then.
Oh, absolutely. We always like to brag to other siblings that we never fought.
I don't know if it's appropriate to say it. It would be like the blind leading the blind almost.
I,
That's great.
I mean,
Um,
yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, I'm the older brother, so I guess, she might not like to say it, but I do feel like she kind of looked towards me for a lot of examples on what to do. I was always the one that was a lot more open to saying that I was legally blind and that I was losing my vision and I needed help, while she was the one that didn't want to use the cane because that would let people know that there was something wrong with her. So I always like to
Yeah.
kind of, at least believe that I did a good job showing her what a person could be, even if they were losing their vision.
like your sister, I'd be very much like your sister then on that side, where I didn't want people to know my disability. Where did you get
Mm.
or where did you find that confidence to to have that empowerment with your disability?
I think it was like, I think a lot of it had to do with one. I was very young when I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. 11 years old, don't really truly understand what it means when someone tells you, okay, so you're going to lose your
Yeah.
vision. And you're going to start being able to not do things that you used to do, like just go outside and walk on your own. But I think I have to credit my confidence most to my parents. My mom and dad were very big believers of, listen, yeah, this sucks. We wish that it didn't have to happen to you, but we do not want you to feel like you can't go out there and do what you want to do. They always made me understand that, you know, you're not going to live with us. You're not going to mooch off of us. You're either going to go out, get your
Wow.
own job, and live your life, or you're gonna find
Yeah.
someone else to help you. So they really made sure to ingrain to me that, listen, just because you're losing your vision doesn't mean you're still capable to do things that you want
That's
to
That's
do.
amazing.
incredible to have such supportive parents like that, because they could have easily have said, "Oh no, well, you're not leaving the house ever again. You're going to get hit by a car. We can't lose you." And then there's always this sense of um, keeping
Mm.
disabled people children. I get that a lot in my life. Not I mean,
Mm.
I don't have any family, but other people want to baby me and try and keep me safe, and I'm like, no, let me just go, let me just do my thing. I'm gonna be fine. If I get hit by a car, I get hit by a car.
Hmm.
It's and that's so great
Yeah.
that your parents just went, nope, you're not staying here anymore. Bugger off, go on, get your own place. It's
Hmm.
amazing. I love that of your parents.
You have to. I think that my parents were the same. Like they were pretty much like, we'll support you.
Yeah.
Whatever you need. And there's times when I was unemployed, my mom would be handing me money left, right, and center. So would my
Hmm.
dad. And even when I went to university away from home, my mum would come and visit me, my
Mm-hmm.
dad would come visit me, and they still supported me. They worried about me, and even now,
Mm-hmm.
like I think if my mum could, she'd be in my house every day, opening my letters, reading them for me, trying to
Yeah.
do my work, and it's just that we say in Northern Ireland, "Mummy," and then you'll be really mummy you, but it's really great that you had that support. And your sister now, then, so you both have guide dogs. I seen this on Twitter. You both have a guide dog. Are they besties then? Am I assuming? That's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just wanted to touch on what you were saying, Jamie. My mom is still, very supportive. Still wants to do things for me when she's here, but you know, they've really been helping me a lot because I created this life for me out of the blue. I just I'm a journalist now, and I'm also trying to make my way as an advocate for blind equality, and of course there's not a lot of money right now, and they're great enough parents to support me and let me live this dream, and it's just great to have such supportive family that believe in something like this, wanting to be a journalist and start my own podcast because there's a lot of people in different situations that would not support such a lifestyle.
You have an article posted in Nintendo Life, which is massive to anyone in the gaming who plays Nintendo. I am a massive Pokemon fan.
That's
Fuchsia clacks them, so she does. But tell us about like how did you get into writing? Then, like, where did this passion for writing come from?
So I feel like any person with a disability that wants things to be better will want to be vocal. So I feel like most, if not all, disabled people will see that honestly the life around them is not accessible. There's a lot of people that try and tell us what we
yeah,
cannot do instead of what we can do. And I just feel that personally, for a lot of us, we just want to prove people wrong, and we want to show them that we can still do things that people would think is kind of weird, like playing video games. I feel there's a lot of people out there that just they hear like, oh, you're a blind gamer. How is that even
yeah.
possible? Why would you want to play games if you can't see to play them? So for me, my passion definitely comes from trying to prove to people that disabled gamer are still
Mm.
gamers, and basically we just want games to be better made for us. So I honestly, um, I never wanted to be a writer. To be honest, I didn't think it was something that I would do. I mean, I went to college to be a teacher.
Goodness.
Uh,
You went from working to
um,
writing.
yeah. But after I lost my job for Southeastern Guide Dogs because of the coronavirus, I met a friend at Southeastern that was also an employee there, and we just kept staying connected. And we both left the organization for different reasons. And he lives here in the area, and he's younger like me, really big into games and anime, comics. We just had a good friendship, and one day out of the blue, I wasn't really doing anything. I just asked him, I want to get back into gaming, and I've wanted to always upload let's plays to YouTube. So I asked him if he would help me do that. So we started doing that, and that's what led to our gaming channel over on YouTube. And then one day, my sister said, "Well, what is it about gaming that you love so much?" And I basically told her, I just love to prove to people that someone without vision still loves to do something that requires a lot of vision, or people would perceive
Mm.
requires vision. And I like to prove to them, what we're willing to do, even if there's no accessibility options to play the games that we still love. And she said, "Well, you should really try and reach out to one of these publications that published articles and reviews about gaming." So literally what I did was I just sat down one day, I typed up a big long email, and I sent it out to like 10 or 20 different publications. And just fortunate enough, Nintendo Life, they contacted me back and said, "Would you like to write an article?" And I was just like,
Yes.
"Yes."
Silly say no to
Yeah.
that.
I mean, because it's Nintendo Life.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
so huge. Like they
Yeah.
are internationally known.
Like,
That's incredible.
I'm blown away by it because for me, when I was young, my eyesight, I was born with my bad eyesight, so I've never really known anything different from it. And when I was younger, I remember having my Game Boy, and I think I told you this when we were messaging. I used to have this over-the-screen magnifier for my Game Boy that my mum had got me, and it was a Game Boy Color. And so back in the days, if anyone who doesn't know these, there was no color on the actual screen itself. Like, it wasn't in that. Like, I'm trying to remember since that long ago. And the writing was tiny in it, so I don't know how I played it, but all my friends would play it, and I'd be sitting almost licking the screen to try to see it. So this magnifier let me play it. It had a little light and everything, was brilliant. But if you come now to the 21st century, you now have Nintendo Switches, which are devices that are massive when you hold them. I can actually see it when I play. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still like up close to it, but you can connect it into your TV, so you can put your game device that years ago used to be about less than 10 inches onto your 60-inch TV or 50-inch TV and play it comfortably. Like, I think for me, that's a massive jump for Nintendo's. Like, Nintendo's one of my favorite gaming consoles because of it. I think it's just so much more accessible because you can bring it in the go, you can bring it to other people's houses. Trailing an Xbox under your arm or a PlayStation does not have the same the accessibility.
I chose the wrong console, didn't I? I'm an Xboxer, so I really shot myself in the foot. Although I did have an original Game Boy, and my favourite game ever was oh god, I've forgotten its name now. My most favourite game ever, and I can't even remember its flipping name. Oh, that's terrible. Oh no! I can actually physically see the game in my head. Oh, there's my dyslexia going. Right, what's words fuchsia? No idea. But like you, I had the magnifying glass thing, Jamie. My magnifier, it had like 4 AAA batteries or AA batteries, and it was so heavy. It really, really was, and it kind of like had knobbly bits. And if you didn't quite snap it in place on the back of your Game Boy, it would fall off and all sorts. But I had a special bag and everything, and I lost my Game Boy years ago, and it was so sad. And because it was still working, and it was the original grey one, and I was so in love with it. But that's unfortunately the last Nintendo game like console that I had. I don't have a Switch or anything, and I always really desperately wanted to play Mario Kart, and my cousins had I can't remember which Nintendo it was. I think it was the NES or the SNES, and I was so jealous because I had a crappy Sega Master System, and I really wanted to play Mario Kart. And even to this day, I've never played Pokemon. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you need to play Pokemon.
So yeah, I think the magnifiers are pretty cool because I never even knew they had those, to be honest, and that would have been awesome to have when I was younger. And it's just kind of cool that they had something like that back on something as old as the Game Boy Color. It's pretty cool, but it kind of just like you know reinforces the idea of what I try to prove with articles, and that is just like visually impaired gamers especially will go through some amazing lengths and use what they have to make gaming possible for them. But like it's cool to know that's something that existed though.
Yeah, it was amazing because you could play it in the car then because you had lights on it.
I used to play mine under my bedclothes, like under my bed.
And it flipped as well, so you could move it up and down. It's pretty cool, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was made by Nintendo. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I can't even remember where you got it from, like Argos or something like that.
I don't even know where I got mine. I just know my mum got me it, and it was I can see my Nintendo Switch, and I can play it at night time now. And my brother used to hear it because we shared a room, so I'd be sitting under my bed with the Pokemon theme song going because I have to have the music playing to play a game. I can't play it in silence. I have to hear it.
Oh my goodness.
So Chad, talking about yourself then, as we said, we both work in recruitment, so quite different from your journalism role, and obviously we advocate on the side. We try to do it through our podcast and through our work. But in terms of yourself, have you ever encountered barriers because of your disability entering the world of employment or whilst being in the world of employment?
Yeah, so I definitely would say that I've experienced not only barriers but just discrimination as a whole. The unfortunate thing for me is I wanted to work while I was attending college, but unfortunately, no one would hire me. At the time, I already had my guide dog, and I feel like, as well, at least here in the United States, there are a lot of people that when they see the cane or they see the guide dog, they automatically start thinking of all the things that this person's not going to be able to do because there's obviously some
Yeah.
sort of disability that they have. So I was never, told, oh, you're not getting the job because you're blind or you have a vision problem. But I always
Mm.
knew when someone said, oh, well, we can't hire you or you don't have the right background, that it was because of my vision problem. So I didn't work at all during college. My parents were like, listen, just focus on getting your degree. You'll get it after you leave college. And lucky enough, Southeastern Guide Dogs was right there after I left college to give me my job. But yeah, I've definitely have been, barred from jobs that I knew I had the experience for, that I knew I could excel in,
Mm.
and they basically just said no. And then I've also had times where I put in for an application, and I got far in the recruitment process, but then when it came to getting me the equipment and technology that I would need for my technology, for like my screen readers and everything, they would start
Yeah.
arguing with me about, oh, well, we can't do it because our systems and our security. So yeah, absolutely, I have.
I think we can all relate to that there, and within the disabled community, we've all had those presumptions or those, oh, this person, they're in a wheelchair, they can't do this, or this person's blind, they can't do this, or this person's deaf, they can't do that. They automatically say you can't do this without saying to you, firstly, what can you actually do here, or what
Yeah.
support
Yeah,
can we put in place to actually enable you to be able to do it?
yeah.
And that's something that's global, isn't it? Isn't it shocking to think that like everywhere in the world this is still the same problem? And
Hmm.
when you think about disability across the globe, the US and the UK, I'd say we are a lot more forward than some of the countries in the world where
Hmm.
they're not getting the support, and disability is still seen in some countries, which is absolutely shocking, as a mental health
Hmm.
disorder, which is absolutely disgusting because
Yeah.
it's not as if we can't change it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't compare the two, mental health and disability.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. They're conditions, but they're not the same thing. So it's absolutely ridiculous when you are being told that, oh, you're disabled, or this is you're just a mental health issue. That's it.
Yeah.
But then you come into the UK or the US and you have support, and you should be getting support. But even then, the support's there on paper, but it's not actually there about the actions the company's taken. So have you ever had to, like, I know that you are an advocate for the community, but in terms of yourself, have you had to reach out to other organizations, or the organizations within the US who who are quite good at what they do as advocates?
Yeah, so definitely, so here in Florida, and then there's an organization, and they're pretty much scattered around the entire of out to the, like, I don't know like how everyone works, but I know there's a disability, not disability, but blind. Okay, I'll get it eventually. Uh, Division of Blind Services. There we go. Had a brain fart.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's called the DBS. It's Division of Blind Services. Basically, they're kind of like, they do recruitment, but they also teach you life skills. So, like, for
Mm.
instance, say if you are really young and start losing your vision, or you're a lot older and you're starting to lose your vision and you need help learning skills to help you adapt to your vision loss, they can teach you things like cooking. They can also teach you how to use screen readers and like voiceover on your phones. And then they can also help you learn, career skills. So especially for like young adults that are still in school and might not have any experience with how to look for a job, or you know
Yeah.
how to interview, or human resources things, like if you get injured on the job with a disability, what do you do? So you can go
Mm.
there, and they have courses, they have teachers, and they can teach you what you need to do and what you need to know. And I definitely have used them. They definitely helped me a lot. um, they taught me certain things. Definitely, I credit them for when it comes to screen readers and adaptive technology. Like they've definitely
Mhm.
helped me learn to be better about that and be able to prove like during interviews, like, listen, if this is a computer job, I can do it, and I can prove it to you right now. If you let me use this technology, I can show you that I can be just as good, if not better, than your other employees.
So-
We have similar in the UK, and I know in Germany there's a similar organisation too. In the UK, it's the
Mhm.
RNIB, and they do the same support. They will provide service users with equipment. They will do training and workshops with the actual employer. They do life skills. They do pretty much everything you said there. And I used them when I was really young and went to kind of residentials and met other kids who had eyesight conditions as well, or visually impaired or blind, and it was just a real eye opener for me because my friends at home in
Right.
my hometown, they were all running around playing football. I was just sitting on the sidelines trying to watch. I do that in inverted commas because I did not see that ball moving. Um, but Fuchsia, you were going to say something. What was your
yeah, so
thought
I was
there?
just wondering, Chad, when you say that they help you use these systems, do they also provide funding for them as well? Because I know in the US, you obviously don't have a national health service or anything like that, like we do in the UK, where we can actually get
Mhm.
things funded for us and given to us and stuff. So, is there like
Mhm.
foundations and non-profits that help fund these programs that you can use, such as Jules?
So I don't know exactly how they work. I do know that they have funding, but I believe it's more so on the government side. Um, for
Right.
instance, they have money, but they have like basically a budget, so they can only spend enough money every like part of the year. So like for instance, they did get me Jaws, so I got that purchased through them. But unfortunately, when I was in college, when I tried to get Jaws the first time, they would not give it to me because they didn't have enough funding. So
Gosh.
literally, when I was trying to go through school and was starting to believe, like, hey, I think I need a screen reader on my laptop, they're like, we can't give it to you right now. We don't have the money. So then I had to
Oh,
finish college without any sort of adaptive technology, and then, of course, on the flip
wow.
side, I get out of college. I'm like, hey, I was wondering, can I get Josh? They're like, yeah, we got the money. So, it can be very
Very
annoying.
much luck of the draw to whether or not you're going to get the
Yeah,
support.
especially with the ADA, because that only came in a couple of years ago, didn't it, with you guys? The
Hmm.
I can't remember what it actually stands for now. The Americans
Oh,
Disability
the
Act.
ADA.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we will put a link and resource on our website for that as well for anyone in the US there, and we'll also have Chad's details there too, so Chad can point you in the right direction. Because realistically, me and Fuchsia will point to Google and give you the first option of what we would
We
think it
haven't got
might
a
be.
clue. We haven't got a clue.
Um, no, it's because it's different. I think as well. We have a
Uh huh.
UK perspective. I have a Northern Irish perspective, and even though Northern Ireland is part of the UK, the way we do things within Northern Ireland are different to the
Yeah.
way it's done
Hmm.
in the UK, like in England. And it's because we have this program called Access to Work, which we have talked about a few times. And this is a program that gives people adjustments and provides funding for the employer to get them adjustments in work. And in Northern Ireland, we have one process, but in England, we have a different process. But we're still in the UK, so it makes
Right.
absolutely no sense. But again, that's our perspective, and then you've got a new perspective. So it's just, I think, getting that perspective of difference across the world is really interesting. And for yourself, would you say that you get support from friends as well as your
Oh, that
family?
was. Yeah.
Would you have many friends who
Yeah,
rely on you?
absolutely. I feel honestly, and it sucks to say this, but I feel like I've gotten more support from family and friends than I have from the organizations that should
Mm.
have been helping me or should be helping me. Um, Again, and I hate to, like, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on them because I'm not. They have helped me. They taught me life skills, but they've also let me down in a lot of ways. And um, when I lost my job to coronavirus, I literally had to support myself on a COVID grant as a janitor at a reemployment office. And the reemployment office tried to help me, but a lot of their jobs are, of course, things that I can't do. Work in an Amazon factory, drive a truck,
Yeah.
lift heavy equipment, it's like stuff I could never ever do. And then
Yeah.
on the flip side, the DBS, they're like, well, we can help you, but we want you to take these career skill classes. Like, okay, but you realize I'm just coming out of career for 3 years where I was a fundraiser working at an organization. I have all these skills. Why do I have to take classes before I can get a job? So it's like I had to basically create my career for myself. And thank God I had family and friends that are willing to support me and be there for me when I'm deciding, like, okay, well, I don't think these organizations are really helping me or are really paying enough attention to me. I'm going to see what I can do on my own and hopefully make it into a career. And my friend Caden, who's, of course, I would like to say he's my fuchsia or my Jamie. He's been there with me since day one when I asked him, like, listen, I want to try doing YouTube. I want to try doing a vlog channel, or, can you help me find the right equipment for a podcast? I mean,
That's so
he has
cool.
been so helpful and instrumental into me blossoming into this career, and I could never ever repay him, no matter how many lifetimes I have.
Oh, that's so sweet. You're making me
That's so
want to
nice.
cry.
That's so nice. Um,
Oh my goodness, I'm going to be an emotional wreck by the end of this
don't cry, not
podcast.
yet.
I really am.
No, it's when you go into organize, that frustration, because we all have those frustrations. We've been employment, or we've been told, oh, you should work this job, and it's like, why would you give this to me? Like, do you know who you're speaking to? Like, it's insane sometimes, and you have to come home and that frustrating, because you laugh about it and you'd be angry about it in that moment, but when you come home and you sit back, you start to be like, you just start to rip it apart, and you'd be like, what is going on in the world? How can you get
Yeah.
it so wrong? Like, I've been told to go and do kind of cleaning duties, okay? And with my eyesight, they wanted me to brush the floor as well. And I'm sorry, I can't see that distance from the floor. Give me a Hoover and I can try, because at least I can picking things up. But me brushing, oh, you've missed the part. What part? You've missed it's half the floor. I'm shocking with mine, and it's ridiculous. So to give me a computer and tell me, oh, here's a wee tiny computer, Sony 15-inch screen. You're not going to be able to see it, but you're going to do your work and copy
Yeah.
this text into it. It's impossible, and I think sometimes you need that person has lived experience, or has that lived experience of somebody with a disability living with them, or family member, relative, and that's supporting them. You need that experience to
Mm-hmm.
understand. Otherwise, you just don't understand, and sometimes in the process you become ignorant rather than just asking outright, how can I
Yeah.
Yeah.
support you? But like, just before we kind of start to wrap up, I just want to ask you one
Mm-hmm.
question, Chad, and it's something that we talked about last week. When you were looking for employers as a disabled person, what is one thing that you look for in an employer when you are seeking employment?
So for me, especially when it comes to like my the type of boss that I like to work with, because of my disability, I have a lot of confidence issues. Just because just personally, I always feel like I have to prove myself more than other people. And I
Yeah.
know it might be a bit of an inferiority complex, but I mean, I feel like it is probably not uncommon for me to feel this way, if I was to talk to my other peers. So for me, I really like an employer that will reinsure me, like, you're doing a good job. I always tell people, it's like, I don't want to be given a raise. I mean, the money's nice, but I would really just want a boss that says, hey, you did a good job today, or hey,
Mm.
I know it was a tough day, but you know what, you're doing great and you're learning a lot. So for me,
Yeah.
I really like a boss that will tell me you're doing a good job. And I also like a boss that I can come to and talk to. I like a boss who's open minded when it comes to my needs. Will understand that there's going to be things that I'm going to require in order to get my job done. And it might be something as silly as, hey, um, we need to put blinds on these 4 windows here in the front office, because the
Mhm.
glare during a lot of like major parts of the day makes it impossible for me to see, to do certain things. And I did work for a boss that was like, you know what, we're gonna get you those blinds, and they got me the blinds,
Oh
and then
wow.
I could put them down, and then I could because like for me, like, eye fatigue is such a big thing, and then you just
Yeah,
go home, you're
yeah,
exhausted, more than you should be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to know like there's gonna be a boss that will listen to me and is at least open minded enough to maybe think of where I'm coming from in terms of a low vision employee.
Definitely. Yeah.
100%. Open mindedness is 100% something you need. Well, look, just as we wrap up then, let's go to our rant of the week. For anyone who hasn't listened before, on this podcast, we like to have our uninclusive rant of the
We're
week.
never
I
going to
can't
get
even
that
say
word.
it. I
Never.
too many vowels in it for an Irish person. So one day we'll have our sounds and we'll have it come up and it'll be somebody saying it in a really fun way with sound effects. But right now, you will have to bear with the Irishman as he struggles to say words. So we wanted take a moment to go through each guest to kind of talk through a moment or something that this week has give them a bit of a rant. So Chad, let's start with you. What is your rant for this week?
Oh my god, I can't even. You put me on the spot.
Pressure.
I think if anything, it's just Elden Ring has recently released, and there's been a lot of conversations between visually impaired gamers or just disabled gamers in general about the difficulty of the game, the ease of access to the game, and I guess my big thing is when it comes to visually impaired gamers, and this always gets me fired up. It's vision is on a spectrum, and I think there's so many people that don't understand that legally blind is not blind, nor is blind legally blind. And it frustrates me to no end when I have to sit there and explain to them like, I can still see you. It's like, oh, so you're not blind. It's like, well, I have a vision problem, but you're not blind. It's like, well, vision is on a spectrum. It's like everybody's vision is different. One person has this and the other person has that. And I think the big thing when it comes to gaming that gets me frustrated is I see so many accessibility options being added for legally blind or low vision, but then they're not catering enough to completely blind. So I still think there's such a big misunderstanding when it comes to the nuances of the language of what exactly is visual impairment, because I think there are still so many people that do not understand the difference between legally blind and blind. And it grinds my gears to have to sit here and have to literally explain to them the differences between the many words that we use in this community.
Yeah.
And Fuchsia, what about you?
My
What's your
rant of the
this
week is for the disabled people of Ukraine who are being left in hospitals and in homes, and no one is coming to save them. Well, no one's coming to save Ukraine, full stop. But I'm so angry for the disabled people of Ukraine that they're just being abandoned by the world, and I had a really good cry about it yesterday when I saw what the hospitals look like and that they're all crammed in rooms and life support machines are going off, and I was I'm an incredibly angry person this week. I'm just so angry I can't even explain it. But yeah, so that's my rant, is that the world is going to hell in a handbasket and disabled people are being forgotten again.
Yeah.
It's just putting funny faces now.
It's sad, and it's just so upsetting to see what's happening, and people just I mean, the disabled people are totally getting forgotten. Like, you don't hear anything about the disabled people of Ukraine. It's terrible.
Nothing at all.
I feel
Absolutely
so
nothing.
sad.
And the only people I've seen posting about it, the only real people I've seen posting about the disabled people of Ukraine is disabled people saying this is what's happening to our community over here, and it's a shit show.
It is. But I did see.
My rant is.
Sorry, Jamie. I just want to do one thing. I did see a picture of a load of wheelchair users making Molotov cocktails. There was like literally a circle of wheelchair users sitting there making Molotov cocktails, and I was like, "You are badass! I love you so much." Sorry, I just had to put that in because I was just like, I saw that picture and I was like, "Oh man."
Kind of the coolest thing I've heard.
It was just, the picture was just amazing. They just had no fucks to give. They were just making bombs, and I was like, "Oh, I love you." Sorry, Jamie.
Maybe we should get a photo of that and put it on our website. That's
Yeah.
empowerment. Wheelchair users making bombs.
Yeah,
Mess with
don't,
us.
yeah.
Love it.
Those are the last people you want to upset.
Yeah, don't piss us off. Honestly, we'll come to your ankles.
Well, my rant is just going to echo what you both said. Is yes, disabled people we can get angry, but sometimes we have to because you forget about it. Things aren't designed for us, and don't take our anger as it's just another angry disabled person because they're entitled. We're angry not because we're entitled. We're angry because the world is not designed for us. So, just to thank Chad. Chad, we hope you will come back and join us again. Maybe with less IT issues because today you won't know this at your side, but we have definitely had a few issues. But thank you so much, and please do check out Chad's links on our website. But for me,
And
thank
for
you.
me, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.